to Unleash Your Niche Live, where we're going to be talking about all sorts of things of how you can get really clear on your niche and how that will make you stand out and attract more of your A-lister clients to you. So today we're going to be talking about the 3 questions you should be asking yourself to help you discover your perfect niche. Because I know what it's like, the questions I get asked so often are, how can I niche? And the first thing that people start to think about is their clients, but it doesn't only have to be that. So we're going to go through that today. So if you have any questions and you're on live, do let me know, do put them in the comments and I will answer them at the end. If you are watching the replay, then also do put your comments in the comment section, surprisingly, and I will answer them afterwards. So just because you're not watching it live doesn't mean that you can't ask me some questions and I will answer them for you. So, okay, so let's get started. So, as I said, today is all about the 3 questions you should be asking to discover your perfect niche. So the first one that we're going to talk about is, who do you want to work with? Now, I know I said it wasn't only about the who, but it is a really good place to start, and we'll get that one out of the way, and then we can talk about the other ones. So, so the first one is, who do you want to work with? Now, what I should say before we go into the who is, this should all be based on who your current clients are, and it's going back and looking at them and seeing if there's any patterns or any particular types of people jump out at you. It's not about thinking of just kind of randomly thinking of who you might want to work with and getting really, really super specific. Because I think that's where it can go wrong, where you start thinking about, oh, it needs to be a woman in her 30s who lives in a particular area, who has 2 dogs, who has 3 children, who drives this car, shops in these shops. It's too specific if you're starting from scratch, as it were, or they're not who you're working with. What this should be is looking back at who are your current clients, who you've worked with in the past, and then it's getting clearer on seeing if there's any patterns and seeing if anything comes out of you. So the first thing to look at is sector and industry. So this is, if you look back at your clients and they all happen to be accountants, for example, or there's a strong contender is you work with a lot of accountants. So it might be something you go, actually, do you know what? I'm going to really focus on this type of person, and that is what my niche is going to be. I do the thing that you're doing, and I will focus on working with accountants. So I won't try to work with anyone else again. I will just focus on that particular sector. Or it could be that you work in the fitness industry, so you work with all sorts of people in that sector. So it's thinking about that, and are any of these things jumping out at you? So the second thing is a subsector. So this is where you can get that little bit more specific. So taking the fitness industry example, it might be that fitness industry is still a little bit too wide, too broad for you. And actually, you find that out of the people in the fitness industry you're working with, it tends to be people who have memberships, or actually it's people in the gym instructors who are in the first couple of years of their business. So you can once again have a look at if there's any themes, and then decide that, okay, maybe this is somewhere that I should focus on and have that as more of my niche for my business, rather than the other way around of just kind of thinking of these before you've kind of got the facts in place beforehand. So if you're someone who hasn't been in business long, or you look at your clients and they are just all sorts of different people, there isn't anyone that's particularly jumping out at you, then the third way of where you can focus on who your client might be is thinking about pain points. Now, this is something you should be thinking about anyway in your business, but it could just be that the pain point is the thing that unifies all the people that you work with. So, I mean, this is a really good thing to think about if you're someone who is challenged by the fact that, should I focus on small business or should I focus on corporates? It wouldn't necessarily matter if they all had that same pain point. So it allows you to, rather than getting a bit het up on, oh God, what route shall I choose? I'm working with both, what one's going to be best? It's thinking, well, actually, if they're coming to me for the exact same reason, it doesn't matter if they are a one-man band or actually they're a big, massive organization. So it's good to kind of think about that. And even in, different sectors, rather than thinking, oh, actually, should I focus on accountants, for example, from the first one? It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter who the person was, as long as they all were coming to you for that same reason, the thing that you are helping them with. And they've all got that same problem that you solve. So the second thing is, how do you do things differently? So it might be, as I was saying, it might be that your clients, there's nothing particularly niche, that you can niche down in any of that quite yet, but it might be how you do things differently. And there's two ways that you can do this. So it could be that you focus on a certain aspect. So this could be, for example, if you are a marketing consultant, rather than focusing on anything to do with marketing whatsoever, it could be that you focus purely on SEO. So you go, right, that's all I'm going to focus on. That is going to be my speciality, and I'm going to go all in on that. It seems to be what my clients like me for. It's where I feel I give the most value. And it's something that I want to focus on in the future because I enjoy it. It's what I feel I do best. So there's that. And once again, this is something that you might not want to go straight to the final stage. It's something that you may build up in stages, because if you're brand new to your business, you might not know that thing that you give the most value to. You don't know what the thing that your clients get most out and the thing that you enjoy most and feel you can give the most value. So it's not about rushing this or just thinking about these things just because. There's having a structure in place, and it's kind of looking back and seeing what's working, and then it's niching further and further as you go along. And what's really good about focusing on a certain aspect of your business is that this is where you can be seen as an expert, and where you'll become the go-to person. So people will know, for example, the SEO example again, that you will be the person to go to if you have problems with SEO. So this is where your clients will be coming to, rather than being, say, a general marketing expert. People will be like, right, okay, I need SEO. I'll go to this person. And also, if they're talking to people and they hear someone saying, I need help with SEO, it's a much easier kind of thing to remember for people to start promoting your business as well. So that it kind of leads on and you become more and more of an expert as you go along. And the other way that you can decide if you're going to focus on something different is just how you do something. So it might be that you look at your industry and think, do you know what? I think I could do this better, or actually I've got a different way that actually gives more value to people than what everyone else seems to be doing at the moment. And it doesn't have to be something mega crazy or mega involved, or it just could just be something that just helps your client that little bit more, that they will be really, really interested in. So, for example, it could be that you have an online membership, but rather than just doing courses and having kind of being a bit more removed from your members, it might be that actually you give much more of a one-on-one service. It might be that actually you help them with a particular aspect, so you actually have much more one-on-one help and giving advice rather than kind of generalized to the group. So that might make you stand out and might make someone choose you over someone else, because that is what a niche is really. It's how does someone know you are the right person for them, and how is it making you stand out from everyone else? So it could be an aspect such as this that will make you known for the thing you do because you do it that little bit different. So yeah, so sorry, Faye, I've just seen your messages. Oh, hi, Faye, hi, Kylie. So yeah, great point with thinking about the pain point more. So this is going back to the customer question is, yeah, I think that's something that can unify all the people that you work with rather than getting really, really specific on an individual type demographic. So then the third thing is thinking about what's special about you. So it might be, once again, that you're still not too sure on your client yet. You're not seeing any patterns, and actually maybe you still want to be quite general. You still want, you don't want to focus down to yet because you're not too sure what your speciality might be going forward. So you can start to think about what's special about you, and there's two ways of doing this. So it could be that you try to stand out by your personality. So this can work particularly well if you're doing something quite different. So for example, if you're in a particularly kind of grey, more corporate type of environment, for example, if you're an accountant or you're a lawyer or you work in insurance, something that's traditionally quite grey and quite faceless, and then you can be really different by being, actually, I'm going to be really colourful, really bubbly, really kind of friendly and open, and all those sorts of things that is not normally seen. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to kind of do something so extreme than that. Like if you're thinking, well, actually, everyone's quite friendly and fun and bubbly in my in what I do already, how can I stand out? But just using your own personality, there'll be things that that only you do, or that how you present yourself, that can make you stand out. So it's kind of thinking about what makes you different from other people, and actually how can you amplify that. So that's not necessarily every aspect of your personality. It's not making something of your personality that's not already there, and it's not sharing everything. It's not kind of going super personal and, oh, actually, I've got to talk about all these things that, is that appropriate? It's just thinking about, okay, what parts of my personality can I amplify that might attract more of the people that I want to work with? And then the second thing is your values. So this, having values of your business, of actually how you want someone to perceive you, and how you want to present yourself, are really important. And this could be why someone decides to work with you. It could be that they have the same values too, and actually some of the things that you're doing really resonate with them, and that will be why they want to work with you. Both these things are kind of similar things of why you end up liking certain people if you're at a party, or feel drawn to someone in real life. It's the same things that can happen in your business. So that's why it's so important to, I guess, have a personal brand, to show more of you and be more you in your marketing and how you present your business, because these can be the things that will make you stand out from other people, and will make someone want to work with you. So they're the three things that you should be asking yourself when you are thinking about what can my niche be. So just to go over them again, it's number one, who do you want to work with? The second one is, how do you do things differently? And then the third thing is, what's special about you? And when you're thinking about your niche, it could be that actually you've got something in all those categories, or it might be that you've just got one thing in one of those categories, and that's fine. Or the main thing to think about is, how am I standing out, and how is that resonating with my clients? Like how am I standing out from other businesses that are doing something very similar to me? What can I do that's a little bit different? And it can be in any one of those categories. So if you've got any questions, do let me know. I've been seeing there has been some comments, so I will go through what they are now. So thank you, everybody. So yes, so Rebecca. Oh, hello, Rebecca. You're here as well. Yeah, so you've been trying too long to figure out what questions. Oh, sorry. I did have questions, but then it meant that niche was just on its own little line, and that really annoyed me. So I was like, okay, that's a known shortening, but maybe it wasn't. So I'll put everything in long form next time. Sorry, Rebecca. And then Kylie, so you've got 2 ideas, but you can't see how you're going to make money from them. Okay, so you obviously haven't told me what these ideas are. So if you want to share them, you can. If not, you can message me in private and I can have a look if you don't feel confident about sharing them with everybody. But maybe, so I don't really know whether these ideas are kind of more business ideas or whether they're ideas of how you can stand out. But maybe it is thinking about actually stripping them back a bit and thinking, okay, maybe I could do something I do in a very different way, in a bit of a different way, that starts to be one of those things. So rather than it necessarily being a money-making idea, it's maybe something you can incorporate into your business as it is now. So without knowing what these ideas are, I don't know whether that's helpful or just not relevant at all. Yeah, so maybe it's thinking about that. So rather than it being, so one of them is, yeah, so I think, yeah, your app, I think the fact that you talk about apps all the time could definitely be something that you get known for, because the fact that, so I know Kylie is a social media manager. So I think the fact that you do that, I mean, I think apps are really relevant to that industry. And I think people will come to you to find out about the apps. So I think rather than necessarily thinking about how you can do that as another business, it could actually be that you incorporate it into something that you're known for, and that it's an area of content that people are interested in. You need to have power. Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, it's thinking about how using it as content rather than necessarily how can I monetize this. And I'm sure there are ways to monetize, being some kind of affiliate link with apps as well. But yeah, I think that's something you can think of. And yeah, you can tell me about the second one as well when we speak later. But yeah, so if anyone's got any other questions about anything to do with their niche, if there's anything you're struggling with, you're not really sure what direction you could be in, if you've got a bit of a either or situation, do let me know. So if there is any other questions, so I'll wait just a couple of seconds if anyone else has any more things to ask. If anyone's got anyone, Faye, if you've got anyone, Rebecca, if you've got any questions, do put them in the comments now. So yeah, so to go over a little bit more about my live, so you are here today at 12 o'clock on a Friday. So this is what I'm going to be doing more regularly every Friday. So you can catch it live here, and you can do you have any, sorry, I'm just looking, I've been distracted by another comment. I'll answer that in a minute, Kylie. So yes, so I'll be here at 12 o'clock, so do come along, and if you've got any questions about your niche, each week we'll have a theme and a particular topic, but if you've got any questions, this is your chance to ask them to me. So make sure you come live at 12 o'clock. So Kylie has asked, do you have an example of a pain point? Okay, yes. So thinking of a pain point would be why someone, like what their problem is that you solve. So in terms of a social media manager, it might be that the problem someone has is that they just, they don't get social media. It's not something they've ever done before. They're quite old school in their marketing or quite traditional, but it's something they want to do and want to get better at. It might be that they don't have time. So it's something that they've been doing in their business for a while. They know how it all works, but actually now it takes up too much time and they need to outsource it to somebody. So it's thinking about what actually is the reason. And it tends to be an emotional one as well. It's not, they'll have an emotional problem. So it's tapping into that. And it's thinking about why is it the real reason that someone's coming to you and needs your help. And if you're not too sure what that is for your particular customer, then it might be worth just asking them. So if you've got any past customers that you can ask, that's a really good place to start, about asking them kind of if they remember what it was that drew them to work with you. And actually, it's really good to ask them as well, quite specifically, why you and why not someone else, because that really helps with what makes you stand out. And it might actually be something that you weren't necessarily expecting. So it might be, one of those, say, personality points that actually the reason they were drawn to you because something in your personality resonated with them. Maybe you're similar in personality, or something that you believe in is what drew them to you, and what made you stand out. So they had an emotional reason of the pain point of, actually, I need someone to help me with this, but the reason they chose you over someone else could be something else. So that's another good thing to ask if you are asking people why they need help with what you do. Or you could start asking people you may know has the problem that you're solving, and just trying to get out what actually is going through their head. Because I think sometimes you can think it's a certain thing of why someone needs your help, but it's not what they're thinking. So that's why it's really important to do a bit of research. And the third thing that you could ask is people that you know has helped. So, for example, someone who already uses a social media manager, for your example, Kylie, it might be asking them, actually, why did you go with a social media manager? What made you decide to work with someone to start with? So it's kind of gathering bits of information and seeing, actually, how can that help you and how can you use that? But yeah, if you're not too sure on your pain point for your customer, just ask them. So the good place to start. So yeah, so Rebecca's put, so apps are crazy. Folks might want one, but can't see how it works for the business. Oh, okay. So yeah, talking about creating apps, but yeah, as Kylie has said there, not about creating. So Kylie is a bit of an app queen. So she loves apps and has millions of them on her phone and uses them for all sorts of social media stuff. So if you do want to know any cool apps that will help you do your social media, then Kylie is the person to ask, because she loves them and gets really involved in them and trials them out and practices with them and everything. So yeah, she's the person to speak to if you want to know what apps are best for social media. So hopefully that answered your question, Kylie, about pain points. Does anyone have any final questions or anything that I've said? Any last bits and pieces? Also, if you have any topics that you want me to talk about in future sessions, do let me know as well. So either you can put them in the comments or message me separately if there's anything that you would like me to cover, and I will do that in a future session. So cool. So if there's no more questions, then I will say goodbye. So cool. Good. I'm glad that helped, Kylie. So any final things? Any last minute, last chance? So if there's not any more, I will wait, because I'm not too sure how quick or how slow it is to update. So cool. Yes, catch from the beginning, Rebecca. It will be here to watch. So cool. Yeah. Okay, Kylie. Yeah, that's a good point. I will have other people who've niched. Yeah, I do have some really good examples, so that's something to think about. And I am thinking about getting co-hosts, guests in the future as well. So that is definitely something that I think will work really nicely as well, because I think it's really nice to hear from people who have gone through that journey. And I said, it is normally a journey. It's not normally a 1 to 100 straight away. It is points where they have niched as they've gone along. So I think that's really helpful for people to hear, because I think people get very stressed, especially at the beginning. They feel they need to be super niched immediately, whereas actually that's not necessarily the case. And people who have done it well, they haven't done that. So I think it's really good to see that with people and seeing how it's worked for them. But cool. Okay then. Well, I will leave it there. Thank you, everyone who joined. It was lovely to see you here, and thank you for the questions. And I will see you next week. So I'll see you next Friday at 12 o'clock. Have good weekends, everybody. Bye.